Drew McIntyre recently shared some exciting thoughts for a potential feud, so we'll see what he had to say. We'll also check out a big step down from a WWE big talent, some news with Seth Rollins, and much more. Let's start things off with Drew McIntyre and his potential big feud. Drew McIntyre is still fresh off a long WWE hiatus that lasted from April to July. He's currently in the middle of a heated feud with Gunther that does date back to before WrestleMania and before his hiatus. So it's going to be great to see how that feud wraps up. But fans are already excited for what could be next for Drew McIntyre. The biggest and most popular fan theory before Drew returned was the idea of making his return as a heel to confront World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. It's been reported several times over the last few months that Drew McIntyre allegedly has not been so happy with his creative status and ranking in the company. And understandably so, because this is a man that main evented WrestleMania and defeated Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship just a handful of years ago. So once you get the taste of what it's like to be at the top, you definitely want to stay around that position for good. That was the big rumor going around for why Drew McIntyre was hesitant to sign an extension with WWE. So that's why fans were really liking the idea of Drew McIntyre turning heel and coming after Seth Rollins, because that would also be satisfying Drew's desires, and he would be a great threat towards the World Heavyweight Championship. Just Drew McIntyre no longer caring about anyone's opinion and becoming a man on a mission to get back into the world title scene. Well, Drew McIntyre recently spoke with Under the Ring, and he pitched an even better idea than that. Drew McIntyre said that he would love to do something with Cody Rhodes in WWE. Drew McIntyre had this to say about a feud with Cody Rhodes, quote, "We were both about 24, the dashing ones. A lot of people forget that, but yeah, similar journeys. We got the dashing ones thing, and there's lots of other story elements and things that weren't even on TV that can be touched upon. That's a money story down the line, and when the time is right, I don't even want to think about touching that until the time is right, but it'll be a big deal when it happens." End quote. And Drew McIntyre's absolutely right about that. A feud there, even with no world title on the line, would be extremely interesting to see. These two were literally tag team champions with each other and have history there. And like Drew said, even their paths were similar. They were both treated as the future of WWE when they first arrived. But eventually, both got released from the company and both found their way back to WWE in major ways. Drew McIntyre completed his journey. He won the WWE title 2 times since returning. But Cody Rhodes, on the other hand, he did main event WrestleMania and accomplished that. But he's still looking for his first WWE World title win. So, with Cody Rhodes still being on the road to his first championship, it would be a great challenge and obstacle for him to suddenly find himself face to face with an old friend like Drew McIntyre. And if WWE was to ever do this feud in the near future, it certainly looks like Drew McIntyre would have to be the heel in that feud. And if it does happen, it really could be a great feud for Cody Rhodes to continue to build some momentum off of. He overcame Brock Lesnar, now he's fighting off Drew McIntyre. It's just the perfect list of big wins for him to have under his belt that does build him back up as a big threat to Roman Reigns. Shall they meet again at WrestleMania 40? Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes are already on the same brand, so hopefully it's something that we get to see sometime down the road. Some big news recently broke for WWE's popular digital show, The Bump. The Bump was created in 2019 and has always been this great middle-of-the-week show for WWE, featuring several different superstar guests every week. And the show was useful because it provided an extra platform for superstars to share their thoughts and even advance some storylines in certain situations. And the face and host of the show since the very beginning has always been Kayla Braxton. Well, on the August 2nd edition of The Bump, Kayla Braxton announced that she was stepping down as the host of the show, and how it was her last episode. She announced that Megan Morant would be taking over as the host. Kayla said that she'll be making some appearances on the bump every so often. Kayla Braxton stepping down from the show had fans instantly questioning if she was also stepping away and leaving WWE overall. But she immediately took to Twitter to say that despite leaving the bump, she's not leaving WWE. So Kayla Braxton probably has some exciting new roles within WWE on the way there. Before capturing the World Heavyweight title in 2013, Seth Rollins was going through the same rough patches in WWE. His 2021 year in WWE was full of a lot of losses and barely any wins. And then his 2022 year started off the same way. It was very directionless and all over the place for the first few months of the year. Seth Rollins recently spoke with the SI Media podcast, and he revealed that the beginning of 2022 was the most angriest and frustrated he's ever been in his career because of everything going on in the creative department for him at the time. He had this to say about the topic, quote, "I would say the beginning of 2022 was the most angry I've ever been. There is like 2 or 3 different instances that I'm not going to get into specifically. But essentially from day 1 pay-per-view to getting the match with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, that process was very frustrating for me. It ended in a good way, and we got into a good place, but getting there was not ideal, and I very much voiced my concerns at that point in time. What I was told leading into the day 1 pay-per-view changed drastically after day 1, and every single week following that pay-per-view, all the way up to Elimination Chamber. There was like a 6-week window where everything I was told was changed from week to week to week. When you're trying to do something creatively and you have a vision in your head of how you see it, you're trying to piece things together to tell the best story you can. When that constantly gets changed and the rug keeps getting pulled out from underneath you, and the goalposts keep moving, and finally the goalposts get ripped out completely, and now you're looking at the biggest show of the year with possibly nothing on the table, or possibly some bastardized version of what could be good, it leaves you very frustrated with the process. I was very frustrated with the process." End quote. Seth Rollins then said that everything was smooth once Cody Rhodes got there. It was just the process of getting to that point that was frustrating. It was also recently revealed on Cody Rhodes' documentary that Seth and Cody's WrestleMania 38 match wasn't finalized and set in stone until 2 weeks before the event. So putting all the pieces of the story together, it looks like part of Seth's frustration was the uncertainty surrounding Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania status and if he was showing up or not. Seth Rollins just wasn't a big fan of so many late changes and last-second decisions because obviously it makes it hard to tell a story like that. But everything ended up working out, and Seth Rollins would obviously go on to become World Heavyweight Champion just 1 year after all that. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.